All right, thanks, guys. We went 3-2 yesterday in our premium picks on patreon.com/rockpage. That's going to put us at 7-3 in our last 10 crowd pleaser teasers on that website. We do daily premium picks on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. Link for that site is in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/rockpage. The Pistons take on the Cavaliers here tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. The Pistons are the 3.5-point favorite, total at 216. We saw a 1-point move toward Detroit and movement upward on the total. The Pistons open 2.5 up to -3.5. Total open 215 up to 216. 68% are leaning Detroit, 74% shaded toward the over. And right now, Cleveland is plus 135 on the money line. Now, if you like Cleveland catching the plus money here, or catching the points at home for that matter, just keep in mind they're right in the middle of a 4-game losing streak where they failed to cover the point spread in all 4 of those games. They're ranking the bottom 3 in scoring in the NBA. They're also in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage. So this Cleveland squad really struggling to put points on the board. Now, they're also struggling at home this year. They've played 19 home games. They've been victorious in just 6 of them. So, of course, that's going to put them at just 6-13 straight up at home. They're also 7-12 against the spread in those home games. So, not only struggling in real life, but struggling against the number for their backers. Now, the rank in the bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. So not only is Cleveland struggling offensively, but on the defensive side of things, really not getting the job done there as well. Now, Tristan Thompson, he is listed as questionable for the Cavaliers, so keep an eye on him. Now, Detroit, on the other side, they've successfully covered the point spread in their last 2 straight. They also rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage. Andre Drummond, he is averaging 17 points per contest, but more impressively, he's averaging 16 rebounds a game. He's also got 2 steals and 2 blocks on average per game as well. And of course, Derrick Rose, yes, he is still in the association, and he's averaging 17 points a game, 6 assists. Langston Galloway, 11 points a game for this Pistons squad. Detroit, I know they've struggled in certain spots, but they still rank in the top 5 in 3-point percentage, top 5 in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Detroit's last 8 did get over the number. Meanwhile, Cleveland, 5-2 to the over in their last 7. I'm going to lean toward the road chalk in this one. Give me the Pistons -3.5 and the over 216 in that game. Next matchup, Blazers taking on the Raptors, 7 o'clock Toronto. The Raptors are the 1-point favorite, total at 220. We saw a 0.5 point fade of Toronto and movement downward on the total. The Raptors open 1.5 down to -1. Total open 220.5 down to 220 even. 68% are leaning Toronto, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Portland is -102 on the money line. Now, Portland's really struggling as of late. Losers in 6 out of their last 7. They've also failed to cover the point spread in 7 out of their last 8. CJ McCollum's listed as questionable for tonight's action. There's a chance, a significant chance, he won't play. We're also looking at a Portland squad who has lost to the Knicks, Phoenix, and the Pelicans within their last 10 games. They rank in the bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. They're also really struggling on the road this year. 20 road games, just 7 victories. That's going to put them at 7-13 straight up on the road this year. They're also 8-12 against the spread in those 20 games away from home. They also rank in the bottom 10 in points allowed on the road, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding on the road. They're allowing 115 points per contest away from home. Toronto on the other side, 6-4 straight up in their last 10, 5-3 against the spread in their last 8. They rank in the top 10 in shooting the 3 ball, top 5 in points allowed. Very well-rounded squad, getting the job done on both ends of the court. Now keep in mind, Gasol, Powell, Siakam, they are all still out indefinitely. And Freddie VanVleet, he's listed as questionable. He's listed as day-to-day with a hammy. But regardless, we're still looking at Kyle Lowry, who's averaging 21 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Serge Ibaka, 15 points a game, 8 rebounds for him. And OG Anunoby, 11 points a game, 6 rebounds for the Raptors. So, although they got some guys banged up, they certainly have depth and are well-rounded with regard to the bench. Now they're 14-5 straight up home, 12-7 against the spread in those 19 home games. They rank in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage, top 10 in home scoring. They are averaging 115 points per contest at the Scotiabank Arena. Now 4 out of Portland's last 6 games did get over the total. The Blazers are 60% to the over in their last 10 as well. I'm going to lean toward the home chalk in this one. Give me Toronto -1 and the over 220 in that game. Next matchup, Thunder taking on the Nets, 7:30 Brooklyn. OKC's -2 on the road in this spot here, total at 217.5. We saw a 1-point move toward OKC and movement upward on the total. Thunder open -1 up to -2. Total open 217 up to 217 and a hook. 69% on OKC, 66% on the over. Right now, Brooklyn's plus $1.20 on the money line. Now, Brooklyn, ice cold right now, right in the middle of a 6-game losing streak. They've also failed to cover the point spread in 7 out of their last 8. The Nets rank in the bottom 10 in field goal percentage, bottom 3 in shooting the 3-ball. DeAndre Jordan is questionable with a knee. Karis LeVert still out with a thumb injury. Brooklyn ranks in the bottom 3 in defensive rebounding, bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage at home, and they suffered embarrassing losses to the likes of Orlando, Minnesota, New York Knicks, and the San Antonio Spurs within their last 10 games. Now, OKC on the other side, starting to heat up a little bit. Things were looking kind of bleak for them, but they really started to turn it on over the past month or so. They're 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 8-1 against the spread in their last 9. They rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 10 in defensive rebounding, really getting the job done on both sides of the court. Nerlens Noel, he's been upgraded to questionable. We might see him in action tonight, but regardless, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder, 19 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And Danilo Gallinari, 18 points a game, 6 rebounds for OKC. The Thunder rank in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball, top 3 in points allowed on the road. They're giving up just 105 points per contest away from home, and they are 13-5 against the spread when traveling. Now, 5 out of OKC's last 8 games did get over the number. Brooklyn 6-2 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean OKC -2 and the over 217.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's NBA action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 per month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Right now, one of our hot packages is our Crowd Pleaser Teaser package, where we are 7-3 in our last 10 Crowd Pleaser Teaser picks on that site. If you want to check out my current record across the board, you can do that for free right now. It's right on that Patreon homepage. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Timberwolves taking on the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Memphis. The Grizzlies are the 2.5-point favorite at home, total at 228 and a hook. Then we did see a 0.5-point fade of Memphis, and we saw a significant 5.5-point move downward on the total as well. Once again, Memphis open as the 3-point favorite, down to -2.5. Total open 234, all the way down to 228 and a hook. 75% are leaning Memphis, 88% shaded toward the under. Right now, Minnesota's plus $1.30 on the money line. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns and Jake Layman, they are listed as out for Minnesota, so do not expect to see them in action tonight. But regardless, Karl-Anthony Towns, he's been on the fence health-wise for the past week or so. These guys are still 2-0 straight up in their last couple of games, 4-2 straight up in their last 6. Of course, that's right in the midst of them struggling. They really had a rough month and a half there, and starting to turn it around over the past week or so. Minnesota, they rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 5 in road scoring. Andrew Wiggins, he's still in the lineup. 24 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. Jeff Teague, 14 points a game, 6 assists. And of course, you can't forget about big shot Bobby Covington, who's averaging 12 points a game and 6 rebounds for the T-Wolves. Minnesota ranks in the top 10 in offensive rebounding on the road, and they're averaging 115 points per contest away from home as well. Now, Memphis on the other side, they rank in the bottom 5 in points allowed. Swiss cheese defense is what they call it. They also rank in the bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball. They have straight up losses to the likes of Sacramento, San Antonio, and Cleveland within their last 10 games. They've also really struggled at home. They played 19 games at home this year, winners in just 7 out of those 19 games. They rank in the bottom 3 in points allowed at home, bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage at home. They're allowing 118 points per contest in the friendly confines. Now, the Grizzlies are 70% to the over in their last 10, 12-7 to the over at home. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Minnesota +3 after buying the half a point, and the over 228.5 in that contest. Next game, Kings taking on the Suns, 9 o'clock Phoenix. The Suns are the 6.5-point favorite at home, total at 226. We saw a 1-point move toward Phoenix and movement upward on the total. The Suns open 5.5 up to -6.5. Total open 225 up to 226. 64% are leaning Phoenix, 51% shaded toward the under. Right now, Sacramento's +225 on the money line. Bogdanovich and Marvin Bagley, they are listed as questionable for Sacramento. But keep in mind, Sacramento is still 60% against the spread in their last 5. They're also 12-7 against the spread on the road this year. They rank in the top 5 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in shooting the 3-ball on the road. Buddy Hield, he's still in the lineup. He's averaging 21 points a game, 5 rebounds. De'Aaron Fox, 18 points a game, 4 boards, and 7 assists for him. And Harrison Barnes, 16 points a game, 5 rebounds for Sacramento. Now, the Kings, believe it or not, they rank in the top 3 in road defensive rebounding. They're allowing just 109 points per contest when traveling. Now, Phoenix on the other side, losers of 7 out of their last 10. They're also just 7-13 on their home court. They rank in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding, bottom 5 in points allowed. They straight up lost to Memphis, Golden State, and OKC within their last 10 games. They're giving up 115 points per contest on average. They also rank in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding at home, bottom 5 in points allowed at home. Overall, this Phoenix squad really struggling in many different categories and trends. Now, 6 out of Phoenix's last 9 did get over the total. They are 13-7 to the over at the Talking Stick Resort. Meanwhile, Sacramento, 4 out of their last 6 got over the number as well. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Kings +7 after buying the hook and the over 226 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Knicks taking on the Lakers, 10:30 Eastern tip-off in Los Angeles. The Lakers are the 13-point favorite, total at 220. We saw a half-a-point fade of the Lakers and movement upward on the total. Los Angeles opened 13.5 down to -13. Total open 219.5 up to 220. 57% are leaning New York, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Knicks are +$8 on the money line. The Knicks are also 3-2 straight up in their last 5, 4-1 against the spread in those 5 games. They rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 10 in offensive rebounding on the road as well. They have straight up wins against the likes of Portland, Washington, and Brooklyn as of late. They also have successful point spread covers over the likes of the Clippers and Denver within their last 10. Now, Marcus Morris, he's averaging 19 points a game, 6 rebounds. Keep an eye on him. He's listed as questionable, but he's a tough guy. We'll probably see him in action tonight. Julius Randle, 19 points a game, 9 rebounds. And R.J. Barrett, he is averaging 14 points a game, 5 rebounds for R.J. Barrett for the Knicks. Now, the Lakers on the other side, not a very good covering team right now. As a matter of fact, they're covering just 20% of their games in their last 10. That's going to put them at 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. They failed to cover against the likes of Detroit, New Orleans, Phoenix, and Atlanta in those 10 games. They're also just covering 50% of their games at home for the season. Now, this Lakers squad, they are 70% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Knicks, 60% to the under in their last 5. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Knicks +13 and the under 220 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we went 3-2 yesterday in our premium picks on that website. We do daily premium sports picks on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. I like the Knicks plus 13, under 220. Sacramento plus 7, over 226. Minnesota plus 3, over 228.5. OKC minus 2, over 217 and a hook. Toronto minus 1, over 220. And last but certainly not least, I like Detroit minus 3.5 and the over 216 in that matchup. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Shout out to Ian Kenneth Villanueva, Big Vegas 05, Joshua Hargret, Justin Jarrell, Michelle Sanders, Ben Houston, City Buzz, South Florida Nightlife. That is all one word, one name. Once again, shout out to City Buzz, South Florida Nightlife. Shout out to Mikey Bajoso, Aunt Rod, Frozen Gamer, Dominique Hughes, Albie Queso. Shout out to Seahawks, Pablo Arandia. And last but certainly not least, shout out to Vernon Williard. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. But most importantly, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. And now is the point of the show where we dive into our Spanish edition, also known as Edición en Español. Yo tengo New York Knicks con puntos y los bajos, Sacramento con puntos y las altas, Minnesota con puntos y las altas, OKC menos 2 y las altas, Toronto menos 1 y las altas, y final Detroit menos 3.5 y las altas. Mucho gusto. Gracias por todo. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.